In the previous video, you learned about the 8 primitive data types, and the one I want to branch off from is char. Remember that a char represents one single character like space, A, B, C, period, and any other button that you see on your keyboard. And when you're small, after you learn the alphabet, you learn about words. And there's a reason why there are no primitive data types that represent words. This is because char already exists. There's already a foundation to build words, just like the English dictionary had the foundation of the 26-letter alphabet. So, with words, I'll be discussing what strings are, a non-primitive data type that is simply a sequence of characters. With everything set up already, I want to bring you back to our first video where we typed system.out.println hello world. Now, a string is a sequence of characters that is represented between two double quotes. And as you can see here, hello world is a string, so you've been working with them quite a lot. And to declare a string, you can do it like any other primitive data type that you learned about. So I'll type string, I can say str1 or any other variable, you can call it anything you want, equals double quote hello and with a double quote semicolon. To print it out, we can type system.out.println str1. If we compile and execute our code, we get hello. I'm just going to make a new string and call it str2 equals world. For this print statement, I'm going to print out both of them by adding a plus sign and then str2. In fact, combining these two strings is called appending. If I compile this code and execute, you may think that I'm going to get the same phrase here, but the thing is there's actually no space. Just a little trick for you guys. Remember that we're just adding the two words hello world and there's no space in between. But this is where things may get a little complicated with strings because it is not a primitive data type. There's actually a second way to declare a string. And the way that you see here is called a string literal. And the second way to make a string is using string objects. So to do that, I'm going to type string and then str3 equals new space string parentheses then double quote we are the world, double quote parentheses end with a semicolon. The result is still the same if we type system.out.println str3, compile and execute the code. So we still get our desired line that we expect between these two double quotes. This won't be crucial to remember in the tutorials that are going to come soon, but it's definitely just a good thing to know the difference between string literals and string objects. For string literals, when we declare and initialize str1 to be hello, we assign str1 to be hello. And if we do the same thing, except declare and initialize str2, another string, to be hello as well, str2 is accessing the same hello as str1. If we did it again with str3, str3 accesses the same hello as str1 and str2. This makes sense since all the strs represent the same word. However, with string objects, it's different. If we write string str4 equals new string hello, str4 accesses a hello like before. But if we write string str5 equals new string hello, the keyword new means that we have to create a new hello. Although str4 and str5 both access hello, the two hellos each string accesses are different. And if we do this again and type string str6 equals new string hello, str6 will access a different reference of hello and not the same one that str4 is accessing and str5 is accessing. Don't let this get into your head too much. The main point is that there are two ways of setting up a string because there are differences among the two ways of declaring and initializing a string literal and a string object. Typically, I still just use string literals because I can simply type less. To show you some more functionality with strings, you can add or, in formal terms, append strings together. It's just like addition, so I can type string phrase equals str1 plus, and then I'm going to add a space, so double quote, space, double quote, plus str2. Here, str1, the space, and str2 are each individual strings. And if you type system.out.println phrase, and you compile and execute the code, you get hello space world. Now, I'm going to show you something cool with strings that you can't do with primitive data types. Now, the thing with strings is that you cannot only just simply put a bunch of characters together, you can also get descriptions of what the string is. For instance, when you open up a dictionary, you have along with each word a definition, the pronunciation, and the type of word, such as a verb or an adjective. With strings, it's the same. For example, if I want to know how long a string is, I can type int num equals str1 dot length with 2 parentheses and then semicolon to end that statement. The period or dot is basically telling the computer that you want a certain detail for that certain string. In this case, it is str1. And length with 2 parentheses gives you the integer length of how long that string is. Basically how many characters the string has, including white space if there is any. Length with 2 parentheses is one of the many string descriptions, or in technical terms it's called a method, and it comes along with every string variable because of this data type string. So if you go online and search up Oracle Docs for strings, which is basically a dictionary for Java itself, you can scroll down and find many descriptions for strings under methods right here. And if you scroll down here, you can see that we use the length method. And on the left, you can see that if we type str1.length, the phrase str1.length is an int, which is why I typed int num beforehand. To show you another example, you can scroll down here, and here's a toUpperCase method that can convert all of str1's letters to all caps. So you can try that by typing str1.toUpperCase. Since you can see here on the left of our Oracle Docs that str1.toUpperCase gives us another string, we need to store that in another string value. So we should type string, all caps, equals on the left right here. Then I'm going to type system.out.println, all caps. So if I compile and execute the code, I get hello with all capital letters. I could go through every method, but that would just take a long time. And so as you work on these problems that require strings, have your Oracle Docs webpage open beside you in case you need anything special from the strings that you make. If you keep practicing, you'll start memorizing these string methods, and you won't have to have this guide beside you. All in all, in future tutorials, we'll be manipulating strings a lot, and it's good for you to have this strong foundation. See you in the next tutorial.